People ask me what's the craziest thing I've seen in prison. I don't know to this day. I've seen so much. And although I have seen everything ranging from people violently losing their lives to things that will just have you questioning reality, the overall message that I want to convey is prison is a very abnormal place. Do not go if you've never been. And if you've been, please don't go back. Remember moments like I'm about to share, because I'm pretty sure if you've been there, you've witnessed or maybe you've experienced some of the similar things as I start to tell these stories. This story in particular tells a valuable lesson and point in regards to why when you go to prison, you don't go into debt. And if you do, you pay your debt. It is important to pay your debt. It is important to keep your word in a place like prison. A little different than out here, if you don't mind me putting in my 2 cents. So anyways, there was 2 individuals. The first individual, his name was Chief. Chief was an official old head who had been down for about 20 years, life sentence. Prison was his reality. That was it. That was his forever. He was not going home. He would tell people that he was there for multiple bodies, if you will, and he just knew. And on top of that, he didn't have anybody from the outside, and yet he found a way to be successful in that environment. And so much so they had one of the biggest store boxes on the compound. What's a store box? A store box is basically, or a store box man is an individual that loans food items, etc. out to individuals that are incarcerated when they're hungry, when they're gambling, they go into debt, whatever. They're basically like a legal, well, not legal, but a loan shark in prison, right? And Chief had a great reputation of, working with individuals, cutting deals. He made it easy. You'd want to go to his store box if you needed to get 2 honey buns and a bag of chips for the evening or whatever it is. I'm just saying. Chief went out of his way to respect people as well. He was adamant about that because he knew that what he did in those prison walls, being a store box man, it was not an easy job. It's very stressful and can be dangerous at times. And let me tell you something, respect gets you a long way, especially in prison, especially when you're the store box man. And that's the bottom line. And you hope that when you're doing business with other people, they give you that same respect back. And Chief was doing business with a young man by the name of Junior. And Junior was one of those big youngins, had probably been down for about 3-4 years, didn't have that much longer to go, but had ended up on this camp, Sussex 2 State Prison, where over 70% of the camp was not coming home. They had life sentences. You understand what I'm saying? And it's important to remember where you're at in life, not just in prison, in your environment. Everybody's dealing with different things. Be careful how you move. And Junior had borrowed, $30 here, $20 here, from Chief and had paid that back week after week. But what was going on at the same time is that Junior had a gambling problem on the poker table. That's why he had to keep going to Chief to get money to pay off his debt. And when store day came, this store day in particular, Junior ran up to Chief with his commissary bag, big commissary bag at that. And for all intents and purposes, me talking to Chief that day, I thought everything was good. He brought the bag, his list where he was checking things off into the cell. When he came out, he looked at me, he said, "Youngin shorted my bag." I said, "Well, what did he short you? If you don't mind me asking," because it's just general conversation on store day. I got a little store box too. He's put me on to the game. He says a bag of chips. Now, mind you, the commissary bag that Junior had brought Chief was probably about $40, $50, $60 worth of commissary. And when he said bags of chips or bag of chips, what he meant was Junior forgot to or did not put in one 33-cent bag of Moon Lodge shabang chips. You understand what I'm saying? And I remember looking at Chief like, "Yo, you just gonna let him live?" And Chief was like, "I usually do, but no," he didn't say anything to me that he was gonna short me. He didn't allow me to give him the option, and the agreement was for him to give me everything he owed me on this store day. And as soon as he said that, he walked down the stairs, walked down to where Junior at. Junior was playing poker. And he said something to Junior, must have said, "Hey, get my bag of chips." I'm only assuming. Junior probably said, "Yeah, they're playing poker." He's caught up in the hand. And Chief walked back over to me, leaned against the rail and said, "Youngin said he got me when they opened the doors for cell break." I was like, "Cool, we're good." He said, "I hope so." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, because you acting crazy. It's one bag of chips. You collecting all these items from everywhere." He said, "It's the principle. I need him to have my bag of chips because now I told him in front of the poker table he needs to get my stuff he owed me." And as a matter of fact, he had a little bit of an attitude because he felt like I was bothering him for 33 cents. I said, "I get it now. because it is about respect. It is about how you're viewed in an environment like that, right? And what happened was, I'm sitting here sweating telling this story, not to mention it's 100 degrees in here. What happened was the cell break occurred and Junior never got off the poker table. He was probably caught up in his hand, trying to chase the winnings, if you will. And Chief walked back down there to him and said, hey, Junior, because now we can hear him, hey, what's up with my bag of chips? Junior looked at him and said, man, you sweat me over the little bag of chips. I got you next door break. Next door break, I got you. Next door break, excuse me. Door breaks occurred probably like every 20, 30 minutes, right? Chief said, all right, cool. Get me so I can leave you alone. I can fill out the rest of my list and we could chill. That's it. Another cell break came. Junior never went to his cell, never went and got the bag of chips. Chief said, that's it. I said, what do you mean? Before I could really get the rest of the sentence out, Chief, who was an older gentleman at the time, might I add, was already back down the stairs onto the bottom tier. And before I knew it, he was hitting Junior in the neck 3, 4, 5 times, however many amount of times before the guard let off. When I say let off, they got basically something with rubber shells, right? And he's letting it off. Boom. Finally, everybody hits the ground. But when everybody hits the ground, Chief's so full of adrenaline, he doesn't. The guards got to come and spray him, rush him. He's still putting in work on Junior. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm sweating while I'm telling this story because it's real. But people ask the question, you need to know, stay out of prison. When they handcuffed him and carried him out, he was laughing. I told you was going to have my money. You was going to have my money. But I ain't going to say laughing. It was like a hysterical, you know what I'm saying, scream. Like I told y'all, like he needed everybody to know he weren't the one to play with. And the thing about it is we didn't see any of those two gentlemen after that day because one of them probably took to the Red Onion, which is a maximum security segregation unit. That's probably where Chief went. And as far as Junior, we don't know because he got placed on a stretcher and he was leaking bad. Over 33 cents a bag of shabangs. Man, I'm really sweating telling this story because it's more of the story. Stay free. Stay free. Don't go into an environment where you could lose your life over a bag of chips. You understand what I'm saying? Don't go into an environment where you got a few years before you can make it home, but you're surrounded by everybody that's never going home and they don't care about your freedom. Stay free. It's not worth it. This is life. That is not. Don't feed into the hype and what they feeding you. Real talk, man. That's all I got, man. More stories on the way. Peace. Stay free.